Public trust is a critical factor in how effectively government agencies can serve their constituents. Communication and engagement are key pillars of building that trust. Today, with the help of generative AI tools, federal agencies have the ability to improve citizen experience with 24/7 access to resources across multiple languages. I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and here to talk about that today is Raj Rana, leader, specialty customer engineering at Google Public Sector. Raj, thank you so much for joining us, and I'd like to start by asking, can you share with us what is unique about generative AI and how that will change the way that the public sector interacts with citizens?
So Wyatt, thank you so much. It's great to be back here with you again. I always enjoy our conversations and love to talk about generative AI. So specifically in this case, I think the biggest difference between what we experience and how this transforms the overall government experience is really the ability to just net it out to speak in English, right? To have a normal conversational approach. Again, whether it's English or another language, as we'll get into, but typically when you're a citizen, you're not a government expert. And to have the right keywords when you're doing a search or to think of the right things when you're having a conversation is often a level of expertise that your average citizen doesn't have. And when you add to that challenges around low English proficiency and the like, it just starts to compound upon the point where, frankly, people just choose not to engage at all. And that leads to other larger challenges around trust that exist within the government. And so ultimately, you start to create this vicious cycle that generative AI has the ability to fundamentally change.
And then can you describe in more detail how advanced bot tools can improve citizen engagement?
Yeah, gladly, Wyatt. I think it's a combination of not just the bot tools, but really an overall experience. Ultimately, generative AI is a technology, and in conjunction with other technologies is where you really get the biggest bang for your buck. So let me walk through a brief demonstration of how when we weave all of these things together, how it really has an opportunity to change the overall experience for a constituent. So this here is a view of a generic government website. And so as a constituent comes in, they'll come in and enter, how can I contact the IRS, for example? And so as you would expect in a traditional search fashion, it gives you all the variety of different ways, whether it's via telephone, whether it's via mail, or even via the web. Imagine that the citizen then ends up says, how can I speak with the IRS in Spanish? And so what we find is two things. One, and not only does it provide the answer specifically to this natural language question, but there's also insight inside of the technology that allows you to recognize the fact that, hey, you're asking me a question, let me help you and see in your own language, would you like to change to Spanish? When you click on that button, it automatically translates the entire website into Spanish. And so it's not just Spanish, right? As you see here, Google Translate has the ability to switch to over 100 languages. That really allows you to occur, and this all occurs programmatically, so you don't have to guess where you want to start. So as this portal now converts over to Spanish, there is an info bot, and this is specifically the question why you were asking before. So this conversational AI agent automatically has translated into Spanish and allows the citizen to interact with it in Spanish. So the citizen asks a question, hey, I need to file my taxes. And not only does the infobot understand that, but it provides them a link to another page that is also automatically translated using the Translate API into Spanish. The citizen finds the page, and not only is it the page that's translated, but as you see here, the forms can be translated as well. So now this form is translated into Spanish for the citizen, who can then go in, print this information out, and then manually populate it. So as the citizen manually populates this, they have a chance to, maybe it's with somebody else, maybe it's by themselves, put that into a document. We then go back to the chatbot and say, okay, now I want to upload my documents. As you upload the documents, this similar type of approach provides you a link. Inside the link, you get a new page. And this page allows you to either manually enter this in or take the document that you uploaded or that you downloaded and filled out and manually translate that into extract the text and pre-populate the form. Still review everything that's on this page, confirm that the information is correct, and as that information is correct, you send it out. And that's how simple this can be. So this really helps remove all of those. And so now we're going to switch over. So what we're doing here in this demo is we're going to switch over to English just so that your viewers can follow along better, because I'm not sure if everybody here is fluent in Spanish. But now we're going to engage in a scenario of what happens when the system doesn't work as designed, because sometimes that happens. So the citizen comes in and says, okay, I've uploaded my 1040. I want to get my returns. And as you can see, it's confused. It doesn't understand what you want to say. So then the citizen asks again, and once again, it's confused. And now at this point in time, after the third time of entering this in, the system recognizes, okay, this isn't going to work. We run the risk of having people exit. Let's shift over to an actual call center agent. And so this view, I want to pause here for a second. This view is slightly different because what we're going to show you is now the view not only from the citizen, which is on the right, but also from the view of the call center agent on the left, because this is also where the power of that experience comes to play. So as the on the right-hand side, you see that you start to see the view of, okay, Tyson on the left-hand side is entering his information in English. Over on the right-hand side, it automatically translates into Spanish. On the right-hand side, the citizen is entering their communication. They're communicating in Spanish, in the language of their proficiency, which automatically translates to English, which is what Tyson understands. And so as you see here, he's asking the citizen is asking the same question and wants to know when they're going to receive their refund. So standard approach, right? Let's kind of engage with the customer, make sure with the citizen, make sure that they understand what we're looking to do and that we recognize their challenges. Here is where the other value of AI comes in. So there is a summary of what has actually occurred. So we're not starting from scratch. I mean, the most frustrating thing that we hear is people having to repeat themselves over and over again. That's already been summarized. So you see that the customer has uploaded the 1040, asked when they'll get their tax return, and it's you actually see even that the agent has identified that twice. It did not. The question was asked twice, and the user was not satisfied. There is an ability to use a sentiment analysis that says the user is not satisfied, and here's why. And so what you see is before the call, the sentiment is a 2 out of 5. So now you can use the system to assist your call center agent. One of the challenges that we have with call center agents is that they're not as many, and we've got to rapidly spin them up. So let's help them. So you can cut and paste the response. It automatically translates that response into Spanish, as you see on the right-hand side. The citizen then responds, well, what's going to make this take longer? In this scenario, the answers are all right there. So Tyson is able to simply highlight his response or highlight what's in there, cut, paste that in, and provide that information back to the citizen. The citizen now has the same information they may have found themselves, but they weren't able to do that because of whatever the challenge is. And so now they say, okay, great. That's exactly what I'm looking for. This gives me a sense of confidence that I'm being heard. It gives a sense of confidence that you've answered my question. Continue to engage in this conversation in Spanish until the citizen is satisfied. Upon satisfaction of the citizen, you can come back to the sentiment analysis and actually do a real-time review that says, well, how did that go? And you see from the system that before it was a 2.5 out of 5, a 2 out of 5, and now it's jumped up to a 4.5 and actually provides the agent with real-time coaching. Here's the things that we could have done. Here's what you did well, and really allows every interaction to not only be a powerful interaction for the citizen, but also a powerful interaction for the call center agent. So Wyatt, as you can see, it is a combination of not only the tools being used properly, but really looking at it from the perspective of the citizen to be able to provide a holistic experience. And I think that's something that is really, really powerful. It's a powerful way to use this technology in the context of other technologies that exist to ultimately provide a meaningful experience for our citizens.
So that was very impressive, not only from the citizen point of view, but from the federal employee point of view, being able to facilitate the experience and even get some training out of it. Really appreciate your sharing that. Next, what capabilities do agencies need today to begin integrating tools like these into their mission operations?
That's a great question, Wyatt. And frankly, I think that while there's a lot of excitement around generative AI, there's also a degree of confusion. And frankly, the guidance that we provide, and I've had a number of conversations with all different levels of our government customer, it's to take a deliberate approach that brings everybody to the table. So what do I mean by that? I mean that there's a number of use cases that you can deploy, but the ideal use case is one that is first and foremost provides direct value, whether it's internal or external, right? And there's use cases of where there is value in and this one that we just shared really highlights the value to both as you identified. But there are use cases that are primarily internal, back office, which are very valuable, and then there's values that are external, that are customer facing. The first and foremost is to start to use technologies that or start to use use cases that have public facing data. You start to remove all of the challenges around, okay, well, what is this, what the validation of the data. You start to remove the challenges around, can I, what is the classification of the data, can I remove it, can it be exposed, and start to take that, you start to systematically remove those variables. And the second thing is to ensure that you've got you have the buy-in of the subject matter expertise. Generative AI is not going to replace jobs. Originally, this should be viewed as more of an augmentation. It's really most valuable as an assistant to the existing government employee. How can we make them more effective? How can we make them more? How can we make the technology work on their behalf? And then, last but not least, is to ensure that you have that you have the alignment across all different groups, right? You have to bring legal in, you have to bring procurement in, and make sure that they're aware of what this is and what this means, so that as we're deploying this, we don't run in any hiccups. This is brand new, Wyatt. I know it seems like we've been talking about this for a while, but this is still brand new, and there is a lot of bringing everybody to the table so that we all move forward together. That's critically important.
Well, clearly we're at a very experimental stage. It's very exciting, but talk to us in conclusion here about what other resources are available today for agency leaders who are looking to get started implementing more advanced AI capabilities.
Yeah, that's a great question, Wyatt, and I think that's really important. It's really important to get enabled. It's really important to really. I'm going to start with training. I think the first and foremost, the thing is to get educated. This is a different model, even for folks who are very comfortable with the traditional predictive AI. Generative AI is a different model. How it works, how it is tuned, how we engage with it. It is a different model, and it's important for people to understand what it is, and more importantly, what it is not. I think the other piece that's going to be important is to just get started. We've had, there's been a number of conversations where there's concerns around a lot of discussions around responsible AI, which is very, very valid and very, very critical. The challenge is, how do we balance those conversations with the ability, balancing the capabilities and the promise of generative AI with the challenges around policy. And we have to reconcile both of those. So getting started and understanding the technology so that the technology part of the organization has can have an informed conversation is critically important. There are what we recommend is a sandbox, or what we call a discovery zone. And what this does is it allows a governed environment that you as a technology leader have the ability to allow your thought leaders across your organization, the dreamers, if you will, the folks who are forward leaning, to provide them an environment that allows them to validate the capabilities and test out the capabilities, but also allows you to maintain maintain and balance those conversations around policy and governance and the like that are critically important. Last but not least, we do have services capabilities for folks who are comfortable with technologies, who are comfortable with who are comfortable with the use cases, but not with the technologies, or want to understand more about what is my state of readiness. There are a number of workshops, there's a number of services engagements that are available, which really all sums it up, Wyatt, to say that you're not alone in this path. You're not alone going down this path. There's a lot of learning to be done, and there's a lot of us in the industry that are willing and desirous to help you down that path.
Well, Raj Rana, thank you so much for not only joining us today and sharing your insights, but also demonstrating how generative AI tools can really help accelerate the service improvements they're looking to make in serving the American public. So thank you so much for joining us.
Wyatt, I greatly appreciate what you and the team are doing. This is a very, very important inflection point for us in the industry, and I think this has an opportunity to transform government. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you so much for educating the industry on these capabilities.